This little beast is the Stomp station from Sonulab. This uses NAM, or Neural Amp Modeler captures, as the basis for its tones. It's also got an IR loader and a bunch of built-in effects. You've got a guitar input and an auxiliary input over here, along with stereo outputs. You can power it via USB-C or a traditional power jack on here. There is a control input and MIDI in and out via 1/8" TRS on here. There is a single foot switch that can be programmed to do a couple of different functions, and a single encoder that you can use to dial in sounds on here. However, this comes with a free software app, the Void X app, that lets you come in here and customize and edit your tones. You can save a bunch of presets. You can load up your own IRs and captures on here. It's so compact, it's so cute, and it can sound so nasty. Let's just take a look at the on-pedal operation along with a few presets that I've dialed in. Then I'll show you the preset creation process and all the features using the app. Let's go. I've got my Les Paul Custom plugged into input 1 of the Stomp station. I'm coming out in stereo to my audio interface. There's no post-processing on this video at all. There's a single foot switch on here that can be programmed to do a variety of different things, but I'm just using it to swap between my first 2 presets on here. The first one is based on a NAM capture of my Soldano Hot Rod 50 Plus. The second one is based on a NAM capture of my Boogie Mark IV. Let's have a listen to those two. The single encoder on here supports a push function. So if I push it, I can get in here and edit the presets. So you can see that this is enabled. The preset that I'm using is this Hot Rod preset that I've programmed. If I click it again, I can go through all my presets on here. I really like this Wizard NAM capture that I downloaded from the cloud. Let's check that out. You could hear a little bit of the built-in reverb on that one over there. There's also a really nice sounding matchless capture that I downloaded. There are a bunch of different presets in here that use captures as well. So let's hear the matchless, then we'll take a look at some of the built-in effects. I've currently got the encoder set up so that it can control the master volume when I don't have it pressed. That's very nice on there. If I come down here, I can get access to the gate, the compressor, the amp settings in here, the EQ, the IR that I'm using, and I'm using my free IR, which is available in the video description for this one. You've got a modulation section, you've got a delay section, and a reverb section, as well as a master section in here. You can also come back out of this. Let's go to a slightly different preset in here. We'll go to one of the factory presets. I kind of really like the way this one sounds over here, the Deluxe Edgy. I'm guessing it is based on a Deluxe reverb. just heard a little bit of the built-in delay on there. We'll get into that with the app. You can see there, if I wanted to say edit the delay in there, I could scroll over to it. I could click the encoder. I can enable it or disable it on there, and I can tweak the time or the rhythmic subdivision along with a bunch of other options. Now, this isn't the most modern style interface on here, a single encoder and single foot switch. But what is great with it is that there is a free software editor app, the Void X app, that goes with this, that gives you a whole lot more instantaneous control on there, which I really like. And, you know, let's face it, if you've ever had to program a vintage Eventide or Yamaha rack unit, this is actually easier than that. We have it so good these days. So let's swap over to the app and dial in some tones, but you can already hear this thing sounds fantastic. We'll take a look at what the app offers. If this app looks familiar, it's because it's the exact same app that is used as a software editor with the Red 7 Leviathan pedal that I demoed on the channel recently. That's a fantastic sounding product by another Italian company. There must be something in the water over there at the moment. All these tone hounds coming out with very cool pieces of gear. Let's take a look at how you would dial in tones using the app. And to me, this unit is very clearly designed to be used in conjunction with the app. Set up your tones using the app. It's very fast and easy to use. Pop them into the pedal and then go and make some noise. So you've got an amp section in here where you can select the different amp models based on the custom NAM profiles. You can adjust the gain, the volume, and the sag control. We'll have a quick listen to that in a second. There's an IR section in here. I'm using my free IR. You can grab that one from the video description. Loading IRs is really easy as well. If you go and open up the list over here, you can see that you can edit the names, delete them, or upload your own IRs. And this comes with a bunch of excellent sounding factory IRs in here. There's a modulation section where you can have a choice between, what have we got in here? We've got a chorus, a flanger, and a phaser, plus a tremolo section, so like a 2-for-1 meal deal in the mod section. There's also a delay in there with a bunch of interesting controls. Like you can set the tape and analog character in there. You've got a dedicated low cut and high cut, which I like, a stereo spread, and this stereo bouncing parameter for a ping pong style effect. There is also a built-in reverb, and we've got a choice between 3 main reverbs: room, hall, and galaxy. I'm surprised there's not a plate in there. Wait, is there a plate? There's not. So that'd be cool to see added at some point. We haven't heard any of them yet, but we will do that. There's the master section as well, where you can set the volume of the overall patch output, the input 2 volume, the global tempo, and preset specific tempo and level. At the start of the chain, you've got a gate. So you've got threshold, attack, and release, as well as hysteresis on there. There's a compressor in here as well as an EQ section. So this tiny little box basically has everything that you would need to put together a complete giggable signal chain. I'm using a NAM profile that I made of my Soldano Hot Rod 50 Plus. Shout out to my buddy Roman Asafes, who helped me make this. Roman's a really amazing musician. You should check out his channel as well, and he shared lots of great information about NAM as well. So let's hear the Hot Rod 50 where it is. I'm going to play with the sag control, then we will go and add some effect. That sounds fantastic. It feels really good to play. I find the sag control on there, it's kind of hard to hear the effect of what is going on, but it's definitely changing the feel under the fingers there, which I like. I like that you can also just, with all of these, set them back to their default values on there. The gain control as well doesn't sound too cartoonish or anything as you start to turn it too far up or too far down, which is definitely a win. The gate on there is really natural as well. I think they're pretty much the stock settings, and if you have a listen to it without the gate, there's plenty of hiss on there. You kick it on, it's totally silent, but it's not changing the feel or the tone on there. Let's have a listen to some delay first. I always like to start out with delays. So this is a 600 millisecond delay, 30% repeats, mix at 20%. I'm going to take the analog and tape character all the way down, and we'll have a listen to what those do. Let's check this out. Ooh, I like that a lot. That analog BBD character on there warms everything up. And even with the stereo bouncing set to 0, but a full stereo spread, we're getting that lovely, wide, warm delay sound on there. The tape, it sounds like it's kind of adding a little bit of warble on there, basically a little bit of modulation, which I definitely like. That's a great sounding delay. And this is one of the main criticisms that I've had of something like Tone X in there. They give you a couple of basic delays and they sound totally usable, but you don't have this fine-grained control in there, like being able to dial in characteristics of real-world analog echo units in there. That's something I haven't really seen on anything else, actually, being able to change the amount of character in there. So I really, really like that. Let's bypass that for now, but that's a killer sounding delay. That Soldano, my IR, and that delay, I could just be happy with that all day on there. Let's have a listen to the reverbs on here. We'll go for the mix, say around 30% on here. I'm just going to go through the stock room, hall, and galaxy settings on there. Let's go. That Galaxy reverb on there, in combination with the delay, is pretty sick. I love that you can get a genuine ambient tone out of that. We'll come back to that with some cleaner sounds in just a little bit. I find the room a little bit underwhelming on there. The hall is pretty good. I just wish the decay was listed in seconds or milliseconds instead of this value between 0 and 1 on there. But the modulation is voiced really nicely. There is a nice range with the mix control on there. And again, it's a real value add. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this just for the NAM Capture capability on there. Having a fantastic sounding delay and a very capable reverb on there is really nice. Let's say take the reverb and the delay off. Let's have a listen to the modulation on here. I'm going to start out with the chorus around 0.5 hertz. mix at 50%, depth at 50%. I like, again, that you can play around with the wave shape, the high cut and low cut, the stereo phase on there, which will do, and the emphasis. So this is what the chorus does. Tremolo sounds fantastic on there, and I really like it stacked with the other effects. The only thing that I'm not crazy about is that you need the mod block on to engage the tremolo. It would be cool if they were separate effects on there so that you didn't have to, say, turn the chorus mix all the way down. I'm not super crazy about the way the phaser sounds on there, but the chorus and the flanger sound awesome. I particularly like those chorus settings that I tried there, and I actually just guessed them. I thought, you know what? This chorus is going to sound good. It should sound good at these settings, and it kind of does that No More Tears style chorus on there, which I really like. I have swapped over to this matchless capture that I downloaded from the cloud. Let's have a listen to the compressor on here with this one. Let's just bring the gain down to 0 on here so it's a little bit cleaner, and then we'll kick in the comp. You can kind of use the comp to tidy things up or use it as a bit of a kick into an amp that's on the edge of breakup. is absolutely doing the thing. I love that you can combine it with the modulation and the delay on there to get some really greasy 80s inspired tones on there. Let's go back to the Les Paul and hear this Boogie Mark IV NAM capture that I made, and we'll just explore the EQ on here. So I've cranked the gain and the sag up a little bit on this. It's kind of set up for a typical Mark series thrash style tone. Sounds awesome, feels really good as well. In the EQ, you've got 3 bands in here. So what I might do is just bump a little bit of mid-range on there, pull some treble back on there. I'll leave the low end where it is, and I'll even crank the gain up, and this should smooth things out a little bit if I wanted to play a lead sound. Not too bad at all. I think like everything capture-based though, it's all about nailing the sound at the source, and things like the EQ on there are just used to fine-tune things. You're not radically gonna move away from the core tone of the capture on there. Before we go, I downloaded this Wizard lead capture from the cloud as well, and it's just perfect for an AC/DC style tone. Hopefully that gives you a good overview of how to use the app together with the Stomp station on here. I mean, the fact that this thing literally fits in the palm of your hand, that it can be powered by a USB-C on here, that you can load in NAM captures from the cloud and it will convert them on there and let you use them with your own custom IRs. It's got a great sounding delay, reverb, and modulation section on there, as well as some really nice utility features. It's amazing the world we live in right now, right? I mean, saying that it's compact is really underselling it. For the form factor is just incredible. It sounds fantastic as well. I haven't run into any connectivity issues with this one. And I mean, that would probably replace a whole bunch of gear. Could replace a whole pedal board on there if you like the way those delays and reverbs sound. And I really do hope they keep developing this one, add some more reverbs. Like I said, it would be cool to have a plate style reverb in there, maybe a spring style option for people who like that. The easy ability to reorder a couple of these blocks on here, have the tremolo as its own section on there, maybe have a boost section in there would be really nice, like rather than just a compressor, add even just a tube screamer style drive or a pre-EQ on there to be able to boost those captures on there would be very, very handy. But for the way that it ships, for the form factor, and for the price point, it's really hard to fault this thing on here. I think if you are somebody who's a little more tech savvy and you don't mind playing around with the app and using the built-in control functions like MIDI on there to dial in your sounds and then have this set up as part of your rig, I mean, what a time to be alive. That could replace so much gear on there. And again, like the size factor on here is absolutely ridiculous. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this device and in general with the whole NAM ecosystem and units that are coming out using NAM captures as a reference point or being able to load them. It is a massively exciting time to be a guitar player. And I also like that there's a community that has built up around this where people are happy to share their favorite sounds. And going forward, I really do hope that is the way, that we don't just get siloed into all these different ecosystems, that this stuff can be open, widely available, and everybody can have killer tones. If you want to learn more, I'll pop a link in the video description. A massive thank you to Sonulab for sending this out to me so that I can make this video. If you want to support me directly, there's links in the video description, and you can grab my free IR guitar. For now, though, I will play you all out with that lizard weed, the wizard lead tone. That's what I'm going to play you out with. Lizard weed is probably something very, very different. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'll see you on the next one.